Hi, my name is Sam Costello. I'm a fiction writer, and I'll be reading a few pages from the piece I wrote for this semester called Ins and Outs. It's a first chapter about a man who lives with Asperger's syndrome. The schedule for Tuesday, March 25th, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Breakfast of eggs, bacon, and whole milk. Get dressed for work, see him off. 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Walk girls to the bus stop, see them off. 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Work. Focus on design for villain character. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Check with girls. Help with homework, if needed. Consider dinner plan. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Fix dinner. 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eat dinner. 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Spend time with M. Need to decide whether to have champagne or wine. 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Put girls to bed. 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Take shower, bed with M, likely to include sex, go to sleep. At the time the above schedule was drawn out, I had no reason to anticipate any new developments. The only modification I considered was changing put girls to bed to put Olivia to bed. Olivia is 7 and the younger of my 2 daughters. My other daughter, Riley, is 11 and well past the age of requiring bedtime rituals. Frankly, even Olivia is capable of falling asleep without parental assistance. So why did I include it? Force of habit, I suppose. It is equally likely that I am undergoing a phase of paternal regret, what with seeing my daughters grow up and lose their dependence of me. Then again, I tend to Olivia's bedtime more to ensure that she goes to bed at all. One night, M saw fit to send in the cavalry, me, to make sure that Olivia got a good night's sleep. I approached the problem armed with a glass of warm milk. Olivia tried to dissuade me, saying that the milk would have no effect. I explained to her that the milk contained tryptophan and was sure to induce sleep. Olivia reminded me that protein foods carry only small amounts of amino acids, and because our dinner that night, tuna, had contained no carbohydrates, the insulin released from her brain was unlikely to be sufficient enough to permit a passage through the blood-brain barrier. I was quick to remind her that such topics were still open for discussion, and that there were nonetheless benefits to... Moving on. Sorry, Em and Riley have told me often that I tend to get off track. The point I'm trying to make is that March 25th had all the makings of a perfectly ordinary, perfectly scheduled day. Given that I bothered to relay this to you, no doubt you've clued in that it was anything but. If my life was an American sitcom aired in the 50s, then the breakfast I prepared for that morning would have been the focus of the opening shot. It was the picture-perfect breakfast that was, at the time, used to portray the ideal suburban household. All 4 plates came with a serving of eggs, fried for me, scrambled for him and the girls, fresh off the pan, a glass of milk on the side, and Emma had gotten sausage instead of bacon. Links approximately 4 inches in length. It was the first unexpected change in my schedule, albeit a minor one. I was ready to... Moving on. Breakfast was served, and I called the rest of the cast down, to steal a quote from him, down to eat. I heard the pounding of footsteps and braced myself for use of the SSI. That is, my system for properly responding to neurotypical behavior in a social environment. As I was double-checking the silverware for any contagious substances, Olivia walked in. She was already dressed in her school uniform and was holding a book titled Paths of Glory. Olivia took her seat and immediately pulled her book up. "Father," she said. "Private," I replied. It was a joke, of sorts. Olivia wanted to be a soldier when she grew up. She insisted on carrying herself with the utmost formality and being allowed to organize the items in her room, or quarters, as she saw fit. In my desire to act as a supportive father, I had seen fit to indulge in her aspirations, which had been received quite positively. For instance, my private remark, just then, made her glance up from her book and crack a smile. That made me feel like this. Olivia's seating was followed by the arrival of my other daughter, Riley, and my wife, Em, which, I should probably clarify, is meant to be spelled E-M, short for Emily. I used the letter for space conservation. They walked in together, laughing about a topic of conversation that I was unaware of. Seeing their interaction reinforced a feeling of my family security and accentuated my feelings of... Riley mussed up Olivia's hair and sat. I stood by Em's chair and held it out for her. She smiled and took her seat before I took mine. "Next thing you know," Em said, "your father's going to be holding the car door for us." Untrue. If my occupation had been a butler or a driver, I would have been obligated to perform such duties. However, as a husband/father of those present, I felt a desire to show signs of politeness. Sometimes this was received graciously, other times with humorous indifference. At times, I felt that such action presented me as docile. But I would not worry, I had counters for this. Before Riley and him entered, I had already adopted Pattern 2, disciplinary mode. Normally, with my family, I was more comfortable with using Pattern 3, but the knowledge that a potentially productive day was ahead for my daughters called for a formal disciplinary behavior. I sat upright, firm and erect, and adopted swift, concise hand movements as I cut and ate my breakfast. As we sat down to eat, I was struck by how different each of my family members looked. M's father and mother are Korean and African American, respectively. She inherited her mother's light brown skin and sported a thick wisp of dark brown hair. Our girls are both Caucasian, favoring my skin color. Riley had my eyes, blue, and hair, blonde, that she had taken to wearing plaited. Olivia favors M's eyes, green, and hair that she liked to come straight and cut to above shoulder length. There was a touch of M's Asian genes in Olivia. Her skin was slightly darker than Riley's, and her eyes slanted. I read that children tended to favor the likeness of one parent and the personality traits of the other. Not being an expert on genetics, I was not in a position to offer a professional opinion on such statements. However, experiences as a parent had provided evidence to support this. All right, M spoke up. What have we got today? A rhetorical question. Obviously, it was sausage, eggs, and milk. M stuck a piece of egg and sausage on her fork and ate them both. She said, rather exaggeratedly. Delicious. She waved her fork at the girls. Your father worked hard to make this breakfast. I want you both to eat every last bite. She centered her fork on Olivia. That goes double for you, young lady. Olivia looked shamefaced while Riley snickered. I disapproved of the latter's insensitivity. My paternal instincts kicked in, and I almost spoke out against Riley's behavior. However, past usage of Pattern 2 has often ended in me sounding more agitated than I actually was. So I said nothing, and I trusted in Riley's inevitable growth and maturity to solve the issue. M's remark referred to the Reese's heist incident that had occurred the night before. While in bed, M and I were interrupted by the sound of something scraping along the floor downstairs. We came down to the kitchen where we found Olivia in the pantry, using one of the chairs as a stepping stool. Armed with a flashlight, she was reaching for the upper shelves where I organized the foods with high levels of sugar, including the aforementioned Reese's. Further investigation showed us that she had been planning the ordeal for some time. She had brought along a detailed description of mine and M's evening schedule, a map of the first floor, my pantry key that she'd swiped, and even a plastic knife for traps. All in all, I could give her an A for effort, but an F in eating habits. M took care of the punishment. No sweets for 3 weeks. So much for being a soldier, I said. I guess this is her insubordination phase, M added. We finished breakfast in silence. Once the girls had cleaned their plates, M sent them up to collect their school bags. I noticed that M was still seated at the table. I was expecting her to talk about Olivia's behavior. To ease the tension I was feeling, I dismissed Pattern 2 and adopted Pattern 3, relaxed mode. I essentially let myself wilt like a dying flower. This made me feel more relaxed. Then I adopted a more disciplined, casual movement speed as I collected the dishes and brought them to the sink. And I can stop there.